I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great. You know, I've solved 6 wars in the last 6 months, a little more than 6 months now. And I'm very proud of it. I thought the easiest one would be this one. It's actually the most difficult.
Yeah, well, it's because you got commies on one side over here. You got Vlad the Impaler Putin. Always a problem. The Soviet Union lives on. They're the bad guys. In case you've forgotten or never knew in the first place. And now, Jimi Hendrix. Wow, 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 wow. A very good Friday to you, and welcome back once again. We remain at 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625. We were just talking a couple of minutes ago about the the Russian foreign minister arriving in Alaska ahead of Vlad the Impaler Putin and ahead of President Trump, who is currently en route aboard Air Force One. And when the seriously hard-boiled Russian foreign minister Sergei Lavrov showed up, he's wearing a sweatshirt with the old Soviet Union. He's got the CCCP, that's Cyrillic for USSR, the Sovietized version, and he's wearing his old Soviet Union shirt because he's an old Soviet guy, the killers that are the Soviet Union. Putin is an old Soviet guy. And we're also talking about the Reagan-Gorbachev summit in Washington, D.C. a great many years ago. That was 1987, I believe it was, Reagan and Gorbachev meeting in Washington, D.C. And their foreign minister at the time was, I believe it was Andrei Gromyko, right? It was Andrei Gromyko. And Andrei Gromyko was arriving at the U.S. State Department, the C Street entrance, as they call it, with the news media waiting for him to arrive there. And a friend and erstwhile co-worker of mine, John Bodnar, cameraman extraordinaire, he was at the front door of the State Department with the TV camera on his shoulder. And as Andrei Gromyko was grimacing by him, scowling, John Bodnar yelled, "What about moose and squirrel? What about moose and squirrel?" he said to the then Soviet foreign minister, Andrei Gromyko. And Andrei Gromyko slowed down just long enough to tilt his head toward the cameraman with an uncharacteristic smile, a smirk, his eyebrows up. He asked, "What about moose and squirrel?" He's talking about Rocky and Bullwinkle. And the Soviet foreign minister recognized it, apparently. And the videotape is hilarious because you hear the great cameraman asking the question and Andrei Gromyko responding almost like somebody with a sense of humor. It was kind of an interesting moment, a fun moment. No such moment today when Sergei Lavrov arrived in Alaska wearing his CCCP sweatshirt. You know, the old Soviet days live on in their minds, at least. They also live on in the Democrat Party, by the way. That's something to keep in mind. So we've got a lot of moving parts. We got the governor of California, the fashion model Democrat with the moose jelly hair, and is jelly moose or moose jelly? Which is it? And he is he sounds like an insurrectionist. He sounds like Jefferson Davis picking a fight with the world. And in Washington, D.C., with everything that's going on here, the mayor of Washington, D.C., she's a Democrat. She's on vacation in Martha's Vineyard with her family because, why would she be here? It's August in Washington. You got to be in Martha's Vineyard. It's much, much better there. Isn't that amazing? We've got documents being released and actual reporting on that. John Solomon, for example, at Just the News, reporting multiple grand juries have now been impaneled, thankfully, outside of Washington, D.C., gathering evidence of the grand conspiracy under the Obama administration that they perpetrated using the CIA and the FBI and the Justice Department to sabotage the elected president of the United States, Donald John Trump. And these people, they're crooks. They're not the good guys, that's for sure. But there's something else I want to get to today, too, because my great friends at the Media Research Center, they have they've put together a wonderful collection of Democrat Party sound bites that are pretty amazing, I've got to say. And boy, oh boy, I want to share some of these with you because they're ridiculous Democrat media sound bites from throughout the last, going back to when you said 2008, to back to 2008, and we have a collection. It's wonderful, the collection of sound bites that the Media Research Center put together, and they. I want to share a bunch of them. There are a lot of them. I want to share a bunch of them with you, but there are pretty great elements here of the Democrats in the media. You know, there are Democrats in the media, Democrats outside the media, but these people in the media have been saying the darndest things, haven't they, for a long, long time? And I want to share some of what the Media Research Center has put together because they do such great work, such wonderful work. You know, Brent Bozell, founder of the Media Research Center and all of that. It's great. You know, the Bozell family, wonderful, and they've had some experience with these crazy people. But Kat Mortensen texted me yesterday from the Media Research Center, and the people at CNN and MSNBC primarily putting together the most absurd and obnoxious outbursts, and the great people at MRC, they run Newsbusters as well, and they just do great things. But Jeffrey Dickens put together a wonderful collection, and we're going to share it with you on social media and so on, but I want to play some of it for you. Newsbusters turns 20. That is big. Newsbusters has been around for 20 years now, and they put together the most absurd and obnoxious outbursts, a collection. And boy, oh boy, they've got, stories going back to 2005 and lots of good stuff defending Rathergate, Dan Rather to the very end with all of his bourgeois. And 2006, New York Times publishers their leftist lecture to students. And going back to 2008, and Chris Matthews, remember him? He was ogling girls at MSDNC at the time, and he was top of the pop then. But let's go to some of these because they got clips from 2008 and 2009 and 2010, and one from each year of the dim-witted media people lying to us all, which is what they're paid to do, of course. But I want to share some of these with you because it's like a walk down crazy memory lane, the memories of crazy people. The fake news media got Mo and Jika, Joe Scarborough and a semi-inflatable flotation device of a third wife. And we got the Reverend Al Charlatan. We got all kinds of amazing people, Ellie Mestel. I want to play some of them for you because then I want to share them with you on social media. And I think Kevin's going to help us with that. And then I want to ask you to vote on the most ridiculous, the most outrageous, the biggest liar of them all award, and the most mentally ill of them all award from these selections. Now, where are we starting here, Michael? I got all of them. You got all of them? Oh, no kidding. All right. Well, let's go right to starting at 2008. So let's go to 2008 because that's where this begins, this collection from the Media Research Center, the wonderful people at MRC, and Newsbusters. Boy, they've been doing great work for so long, just wonderful. And in 2008, it started with, as you might expect, Chris Matthews.
I have to tell you, it's part of reporting this case, this election. The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
No, seriously, it's a dramatic event.
No, seriously, that's not. And the reliably insane Keith Olbermann, steady boy, steady. That's the 2008 clip. It was the winner from that year at MRC and Newsbusters. But now we've got a historic collection and a historical representation of what the news media is. They had Ed Schultz back then. Remember Ed Schultz? What happened to Ed Schultz? Very sad. 2009, Ed Schultz.
The Republicans lie. They want to see you dead. They'd rather make money off your dead corpse. They kind of like it when that woman has cancer and they don't have anything for her.
That's the MSNBC. They had the Ed Show. It was commonly known as Special Ed. and he was commonly known as Special Ed because they want to kill you and they want you to have cancer and all that good stuff. And now Kevin Tober told me that he just posted on our Twitter and on our Facebook and so on the collection here, and we're inviting you to vote on the most mentally ill and take a look at it, please. Amazing stuff. So in 2010, they clipped the Christian terrorists in the United States and everywhere.
Somehow, the idea got into their minds that to kill other people is a great thing to do and that they would be rewarded in the hereafter.
But Christians do that every single day in this country.
Do they blow people up every single day?
Yes, Christians every day. People walk into post office.
Tavis Smiley.
People walk into post offices. They walk into schools. That's what Columbine is. I could do this all day long.
I could do this all day long because those are Christians. They're talking about radical Islamists, and that's Ayaan Hirsi Ali, a wonderful person, a great person who knows a thing or two about radical Islam. Too much personal experience with that. And Tavis Smiley says, forget radical Islam. Christians do that all the time. Is that right? Because they do it in the name of Christianity? Is there a Christian jihad going on? But that's just amazing. Oh, is that right? Ed Schultz died. Ed Schultz died. Well, he looked like he wasn't doing well. I'll give him that. And Paul Krugman, he was a New York Times guy. This is 2011. We don't have the 2000. My apologies. Yeah, Paul Krugman of the New York Times talking about the fake heroes of 9/11. September 11th, 2001. And the New York Times, they're on the case. Fake heroes. Too bad he wasn't. I'll just leave it there. 2012 MSDNC again because, they're reliably insane. It was Melissa Harris Perry. She said some of the craziest stuff ever, over and over again. You need to stop thinking of your children as being yours. They belong to the state because we're stealing them from you because we have the ethics of communists. Melissa Harris Perry, because, America and the West, slavery and genocide and imperialism.
The land on which they formed this union was stolen. The hands with which they built this nation were enslaved. The women who birthed the citizens of the nation are second class. But all of this is our story. Each of us benefits from the residuals of oppression, and each of us is harmed by the realities of inequality. This is the imperfect fabric of our nation.
Yes, that's America. It's a stain on history. It's the worst place ever. I think that, 1776, we threw out the British crown, first time that was ever done. And in 1777, Vermont banned slavery, and the end of slavery began months after the American Revolution. But never mind that. And your Democrat Party, they're the ones that fought the Civil War in large part to keep slavery. And they were bothered by taxes, too. On CNN, they had this Costello woman, Carol Costello, and it's just amazing. You've got a mob attacking Crystal Palin, the daughter of Sarah Palin, and at CNN, they thought it was quite enjoyable.
Okay, I'm just going to come right out and say it. This is quite possibly the best minute and a half of audio we've ever come across. Well, come across it a long time anyway. A massive brawl in Anchorage, Alaska, reportedly involving Sarah Palin's kids and her husband. It was sparked after someone pushed one of her daughters at a party. That's what Bristol Palin told police in an interview after the incident. And now police have released audio of that interview. It does include some rather colorful language from Bristol. Here now is Bristol's recollection of how that night unfolded. So sit back and enjoy.
Enjoy the violence being perpetrated against the Palin family and a young woman because she's the daughter of Sarah Palin, who is the villain of the year. These people. So we put together, and the collection goes on and on. Now, Kevin has posted it on Twitter, on Facebook, and you are welcome. You are invited to go take a look at this collection of crazy people. We just call them journalists, and they're Democrats. Amazing stuff that these people do. And we're going to ask you to vote a Biggest Liar of Them All award and the Most Mentally Ill of Them All award from the collection put together by the great people at MRC, at the Media Research Center. Wonderful stuff. So please take a look. You can share it with your friends, and it's a nice, easy-to-use collection, one link, and a lot of fun. You have access to the internet, that high speed, because the Democrats, they paid billions, I think, to get everybody the internet because they thought nobody had the internet. I think it was racist, wasn't it? We've got that. Enjoy. Still a lot to get to today. Right now, I want to talk to you about living a better digital life, a better life in the digital space, as they call it, with one of our great partners, WebRoot. I chose WebRoot because their total protection plan, they've got this great product. WebRoot's all-in-one package offers plan options for individuals, for families. For an individual, allows coverage for up to 5 devices, phones and iPads and computers and stuff. And up to 10 devices with the family package. They got you covered no matter what. WebRoot's coverage includes antivirus and identity protection, VPN backup, and a whole lot more. And listen, you've got kids on their iPads and their phones. You've got your grandparents living upstairs. And it covers everybody, from toddlers to students to seniors. WebRoot allows, my best girl and I to live a better digital life. And that's why I'm happy to recommend that you do the same. Right now, you can get 50% off WebRoot, their total protection plan, or WebRoot Essentials, when you go to webroot.com/plant. That's me, PLANTE. Again, get 50% off WebRoot Total Protection or WebRoot Essentials when you go to webroot.com/plant. Yes, sir. All right, so that's good stuff. I love MRC and the Bozell family. Newsbusters, been doing it right for a long, long time. I've got more crazy Democrats still ahead, as you might expect. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Yes, old Chris Matthews and his thrill up his leg. A sexual obsession they have with Barack Obama. They're a demented bunch. Let's grab a quick phone call. Let's go to Ivan, calling from Miramar Beach, Florida. Ivan, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris, I vote for hands down the thumb up the leg. That's the absolute best. It exposes who they are. Hey, Chris, I was going to call in earlier, but every day, Chris, the Democrats, they're the bereft left, Chris. They're bereft of truth, bereft of honor, bereft of a moral compass, bereft of ethics, of humor, and for you, Chris, they're bereft of standards. They have no standards except the double, and lastly, they're bereft of normality. They're not normal. They wouldn't know normal if they hit them in the face, Chris.
That is a fact. That is a fact, Ivan. Yeah, thrill up the leg is a good one. We added a little bit to that, too, because he's really demented Chris Matthews.
At least I got my throw up my leg from Obama. You got it from Sarah Palin.
Yeah, well, I guess that tells you all we need to know about you, Chris Matthews. We have President Trump audio for you coming up. We have Washington, D.C. and the pandemonium that the Democrats are spreading. And CNN invited on the twin brother, the Vindman brothers. You remember the Vindman brothers? The, sabotaging President Trump, the now former Army lieutenant colonel who sabotaged. Eugene Vindman. And his brother, because Democrats love corruption. His twin brother, they're Ukrainian, Ukrainian-American, Alexander Vindman and Eugene Vindman. And it was Eugene that sabotaged President Trump and probably violated the law all over the place with no consequences as an Army colonel lieutenant colonel sabotaging the commander-in-chief and using what may have been classified, conversation with the president, trying to sabotage him. And they invited his brother, who has now been elected to the House of Representatives, on CNN. And you got to hear this because, boy, I guess it'd be okay to say he doesn't like Trump. That'd be fair. So I want to get to that Want to get to that as well. And Gavin Newsom, he's an insurrectionist. He's undermining the rule of law in the United States. He's the Democrat governor. It's almost like they're trying to start a civil war, which is what Democrat Congresswoman Maxine Waters was talking about the other day. And if you arrest illegal aliens or criminals, for that matter, then the Democrats show up with rent-a-mobs, and they, they try to mess with the police. And they occasionally assault the police with sandwiches and whatever they can find. Amazing stuff, these people. Oh, and we have Ella Emhoff. You even know who Ella Emhoff is? Does anybody even know? Because, the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, who, remember, he slapped that woman at the film festival in France so hard that she went spinning around like a cartoon character. And he's got a daughter. I wonder if he ever slapped her like that. But she posted a video. She's feeling very, very distraught over what? The climate. The weather has her really concerned. Isn't that amazing? Wah, wah, wah. Just amazing. Now, let's go to the phones. Let's take a phone call. Let's go to Ron, calling from Northwest Washington, D.C. Ronaldo, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yes, Chris, thanks for taking my call. Love your show. What I was telling your coworker earlier and stuff, I don't like watching the news, and they constantly put this big letters, Trump take over D.C. And I've been living mostly in Prince George's County, but I moved to D.C. about a year ago. Mm-hmm. And actually before the COVID situation, I was attacked on the Metro bus by some kids. And Metro police did handle it. But basically after the attack, it was not provoked or anything. They just attacked me. They did it to a white guy a year before, and I'm a black man. Uh-huh. But basically what I got from the Metro police is that it's not worth going to court or dealing with, because they did catch one of them later. But they impressed upon me more about don't go after them if you see them on the street. And when they did catch one, they were like, well, if you go to court, we're not trying to tell you anything. But basically what I got from them is that nothing's going to come from it. It'll be a waste of time, that they're not going to really prosecute them.
There will be no justice for you. No.
And nothing to deter them from doing it to somebody else. That's why they did to a white guy a year before. So, I watched what they did to a white guy. It happened all so fast. They waited till the bus got to the next stop, rang the bell, and as soon as the bus stopped, they ran over there, pummeled them a few times, and ran right off the bus. And it's like a game.
Right. Yeah.
And they three girls beat an elderly man, a black man, on, I think it was Georgia Avenue, not too long ago. Uh-huh. And they beat him to death. And I found out from the news, they said they were bored. That's the reason why they did it. Right. And what became of them? I mean, I really fear for myself. I've actually felt a lot comfortable since the so-called Trump takeover, because I've been seeing more DC cops on the street. I've been seeing more federal on the street, and I'm almost seeing them. I think one night I walked out here in Northwest, I saw about at least 10 cop cars just in an hour walk, cruising the area, making sure everything is safe. So actually I feel better with it. If there was a reason, for not to feel safe, it's because of the policies they've been doing on the DC government. I haven't seen anything positive. I've heard people say we're going to be tough on crime, but they don't tell you what. Right. All they seem to be concerned about is, Trump's taking over D.C., he's being the king and all of the stuff. But, I mean, if there's somebody new that I could vote for in the D.C. Council that will handle their business, I will vote for him. At least in PG County, they gave a kid that tried to shoot a kid 60 years on a school bus. I don't know if you remember that one. And the gun jammed.
I know. There are so many of these incidents, it's hard to keep them all arrayed in a convenient fashion, isn't it?
But PG County gave the kid 60 years, so that's at least something that stepped in a better direction for them. But I don't see the same thing with Washington D.C. I talk to the security people over at the grocery stores that I see, and the Targets and stuff like that. And the security tell me that they have an allowance to steal at least about almost $100 worth of stuff before they can do anything, because they said it's not worth the court and everything. When I was a kid in the 60s, if you stole one thing, they pick you up,
right,
and took you away. And I was afraid about what was going to happen because of that, so I stayed honest. They don't have that such. They don't have that such fear because they know they could get away with it.
Yeah, that's
so therefore, crime is going to keep going, and somebody has to do something. And tell you the truth, I know a lot of people in this neighborhood in Northwest that are very happy of what's going on with Trump doing the step up of taking care of the D.C. police.
I was talking,
and the police now look like they can do their job now.
Well, you have to let them do their jobs, but then you have to have prosecutors. They're going to prosecute, not just let him walk out the door because, well, he's only 17. We don't want to, so he shot somebody. We don't want to make a big thing out of it. His future would look less bright if we prosecuted him for shooting somebody, but he shot somebody. And let me tell you, Ron, I mean, I talked about this yesterday or day before yesterday here on the radio show. I looked up the numbers of homicides in Washington, D.C., for the last 5 years of the war in Afghanistan, all right? And that's 2017, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And in 2017, 15 Americans were killed in the war in Afghanistan. 116 were killed in Washington, D.C., all right? 15 in Afghanistan, 116 in Washington, D.C. 2018, 16 Americans killed tragically in Afghanistan, 160 murdered in Washington, D.C. We're only 68 square miles, 700,000 people. We're a small city. We have 4 times the homicide rate of Los Angeles, California. 2019, 23 Americans died in the war in Afghanistan. 164 were murdered in Washington, D.C. 2020, 11 died. 11 Americans tragically died in Afghanistan in combat in a war. 195 were murdered in Washington, D.C. And the Democrats tell us this is fine. The numbers are down. This is good. And honestly, go ahead.
Oh, well, they do have this little slide thing because I'm listening to since the Trump takeover. So they said, oh, D.C. crime has gone down. Okay, well, if it's 120 and it goes down 1 point and somebody just says the temperature has gone down, is that a celebration?
Well, that's what they're doing. That's what they're selling us with corrupt media and information dominance. You're 100% right. Again, in 2021, 13 Americans, because of Joe Biden, were tragically killed in Afghanistan. When 13 Americans were killed in Afghanistan in 2021, 224 people were murdered in Washington, D.C. And they say,
wow.
Right, that's right. And this is what the Democrats tell you is perfectly normal. And then, Ron, you know what they tell you, and this happened to me with a liberal the other day. Well, we've got to confiscate your guns, right? Well, there are lots of guns in Afghanistan, and there was a war going on. And in 2021, 13 Americans, the gate that Joe Biden and his idiots set up, 13 Americans killed in a single bombing, 224 people murdered in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. And the Democrats tell us that's good.
Well, if everybody had legal guns,
right?
Don't you think that all this stuff would drop down to almost zero?
I certainly do.
They would be afraid of being shot.
Yeah, that's right.
The reason why the gun violence is high is because they take the guns from the honest people, the responsible people, and then they don't do anything to the people that have the guns. You got 12-year-olds carjacking. That was unheard of when I was a kid in the 60s.
That's right.
The only gun I got to play was cap guns.
Yeah, that's right.
And water guns. Nobody died from the water guns I had. So,
yep.
It's just insane. And, and then they're trying to act like they put all these lies. I just saw in the Washington Informer, which is a local rag, which is so anti-Trump. And I saw this white guy with a picture in the Black magazine that had Trump as racist. And I've seen pictures of Donald Trump with Al Sharpton, and don't call him Robin, please.
Uh-huh.
him with Trump going to all these boxing events, sporting events, and then as soon as he became president, Al Sharpton thought about, oh, he's a racist. Same thing with Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson gave an award to Donald Trump for all the financial support of the black community, and he's called them racist. Racists do not do that type of thing.
No, Democrats are the party of racism, and they always have been. And I mean, going back to the 1860s and the Civil War, they're the Confederate States of America. They gave us Jim Crow and the KKK. They gave us racial segregation, and they're still racially polarizing the country. And they're happy. And they call everybody racist. They abort 40% of the black population in Washington, D.C. and in New York and elsewhere. 4 out of 10 black babies don't even make it out of the womb because of the Democrat Party. And they give out awards for that. They give out literal awards. The Margaret Sanger Award to praise Planned Parenthood and abortion when it's a virtual genocide of black children.
But the evil Democrats, they have the same playbook. And they go with the racism. Anytime they want to smear anybody, they throw the race card in there and they say that the guy's racist when they have no audio or visual proof of this.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
If you go back in Donald Trump's past, Donald Trump has a whole lot of people who are different colors in his company, in good top places, in the CEO places. I'm a veteran, and one of the veterans, I had an argument. In fact, that's the last time I talked to him. He told me Donald Trump is racist. I said, really? And I told him the same thing I told you about the thing on YouTube of Jesse Jackson giving an award. Uh-huh. And he said, oh, it's proof. I said, well, okay, email me some proof that Donald Trump is a racist.
Right.
And I says, what about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson? If you are racist, you're not hanging around black people. Joe Biden went to Juneteenth, and man, that dude looked totally uncomfortable in front of those black people. And he went on Charmaine the God thing and said before the election, he said, if you don't vote for me, then you're not black.
Right.
Now, what kind of person would say that unless they're racist? This white man is telling me I ain't black if I don't vote for him.
Yeah.
Nobody in the black community is bringing it up. And Charmaine the God, I don't know why he calls himself that, this low life sitting up there, he's up there backing the guy. Even though he's been disrespected right there on the audio. He sold his soul.
Well, when I cite these numbers, also these homicide numbers, Washington, D.C., 2021, 224 killed. How many of that 224 do you think were black?
Mostly black. The biggest problem with black people's biggest enemy is not white cops. It's other black people.
Yeah.
I can say that as when I walk down the streets in Northwest, I feel more comfortable than I do in Southeast. And it's been that way for quite a long time.
It has. Well,
I'm part Hispanic as well, so, I got a little bit of both in me.
Yeah.
But
well, you're an American.
In the 60s,
and an American
60s,
veteran.
Yeah, and proud of it. In the 60s and stuff, a lot of situations, we had our problems, and I admit there's going to be racism everywhere. So.
Sure. Yep.
But now and stuff, if I feel like I'm discriminated now, I feel that they played the horn so many times that if I say anything and it's true, they're not going to believe me.
That's the idea. That's what information dominance is all about. And, they've won the argument before it's begun. Yeah.
So, therefore, anybody that has a legitimate complaint are not going to be taken serious. And I blame it on white. Now, all Democrats, I admit, there are some good ones, and the good ones don't want to say nothing because they feel they don't want to be ostracized by the other Democrats.
That's right.
And the decent ones have become independents, like myself.
Right.
Now, I would become a Republican if I didn't see the Rhinos and the Mitt Romneys and the Mitch McConnells.
That's great.
So, when I have conversations with Democrats, I just tell them I'm independent, so they don't. Because as soon as
Right.
I say anything against a Democrat, they say,
That's
"Oh,
right.
well, George Bush is this and that."
Right,
and all
right.
that.
They just attack and smear and slander. Ron, I'm glad you called in. A great conversation. I thank you, and I'm saluting you. Great
And
American.
me to you.
Thank you, buddy. I hope to run into you one of these days. Throw something at me if you see me out there on the street. Thanks, Ron. Nice talking to you. You know that the all-new third-generation Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier has finally arrived, and it builds on the incredible success of the previous generations, which earned thousands of five-star reviews on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, an instant bestseller. The new Thunderstorm uses two different technologies that studies have shown help to kill up to 99.9% of bacteria floating in the air, of viruses floating in the air. It removes dust and pet dander and smoke from the air that you breathe, and it gets rid of any odor in no time at all. And you don't have to buy filters to replace over and over again. Thunderstorm, you can hold in your hand. It's only this big, plugs right into the wall, hangs right there. The Thunderstorm will help get rid of any stinky smell, guaranteed. I'm talking about trash cans, cigarette smoke, liberal protesters, no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. And right now, because we're hanging out together, you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack to cover whole home protection. You can bring one to the office, too. You can give one as a gift. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code CHRIS3, CHRIS, and the number 3 to save $200 on 3 Thunderstorms. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS3. Yes, sir. All right, we've got... I've got an update on this lady that spat on a Trump administration nominee, and she was arrested. You'll never believe what happened next. That's coming up.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
We got a story for you about Gen Z parents. There are parents who are Gen Z. Well, they were asked, Gen Z parents, about reading to their kids, reading children's books and things, Where the Wild Things Are and Dr. Seuss, reading to your kids. You might be surprised at the answers they got from Gen Z parents.